Hello, I'm Martin from Ashbys Cleaning Equipment, and today I'd like to show you our 250 psi Sensei carpet cleaning machine. This one's fitted with a heavy duty performance 3-stage vacuum motor and a built-in tank heater, solution tank heater as well. Okay, I'm going to show you around the machine, but the first thing we really need to know is to understand how the machine is used is to know the theory behind carpet cleaning. So I'm going to take a little couple of minutes just to show you a few bits and pieces about the 6-stage process that you would use if you were cleaning carpets. Okay, so the first thing that you need to do is thoroughly dry vacuum a carpet. Now you can do that with a decent commercial vacuum cleaner, or you can also do it with something called a dry vacuum attachment, which we have one over here. This is a dry vacuum attachment. Sorry, I'm here with Alana. She's got her iPhone out, so we're making a little video. Say hi. Hi. Hello. And yeah, so this attaches to any carpet cleaning machine, works perfectly well with this Sensei. And it is fitted with an air turbo head. And obviously on a Sensei, you have a very strong vacuum. So probably a lot, bless you. Probably a lot better than a commercial vacuum cleaner. And yeah, so this, you attach your vacuum hose here, you attach your pressure hose here, a little bit of PTFE tape hanging off there. You connect your pressure hose here, and you have a one-way valve. This basically allows you to turn on and off the flow of water, which goes through to a jet, spraying a wall of water across this vacuum slot, making like a waterfall effect. So as the dry dirt comes up here, it mixes, goes through the waterfall and mixes with the water and is returned into the recovery tank as dirty water. So you can pre-dry vacuum all your carpet while your machine's warming up for that particular room or that particular job, which is quite a nice little feature as well. And it looks good to the customers because everyone's seen a commercial vacuum cleaner, but not everyone's seen you use your machine, your Sensei, to pre-dry vacuum. So it's a great way to gain a bit of interest with the customer as well. So that's called a dry vacuum attachment. Just pop this back. So the first thing you do, as I say, is dry vacuum. Then you've removed all the dry dirt, all the stuck-on hair and entangled hair, and all you're left with is the stuck-on soilage to the fibre of the carpet that you're trying to clean. So we loosen that up by basically pre-spraying. Now, what we pre-spray is whatever your chosen pre-spray is. Here's two that we do. This is called Supreme Pre-Spotter. Has a pH value of, I think, around, he says 10.5, I think, but let me just have a quick look. About the only thing I can't see on it. Can you see the pH value? I'm sure it's 10.5. Look at that, 11.5. So, Alana, that was a test for you, well done. Has a pH value of 11.5, which is about as strong as you'd want to go on carpets in carpet cleaning. So that's a nice, strong, very well priced, general purpose pre-spray for all carpets. You've earned your money there, Alana, well done. Pay rise for you. And this one is called anti-grease, and it cuts through all the grease, sort of food-based greases as well. So it's a great additive to put in your pre-spray. It also has a pH value of 11.5, because I spotted it because Alana showed me where they are now. It's 11.5. And basically they are applied through either something like a pump-up sprayer. So we do something called an XI6, which is a reasonable quality economy trigger spray. Comes with a choice of 3 fan jets and 1 conical jet. We don't really use the conical jet in our industry, but the 3 fan jets are for pre-spraying, application of anti-static, and the last one is a very fine one for application of stain protector. It's got chemical resistant seals as well, Viton seals in it, so it's fine for using with solvent, just don't use it with hot water. So pump-up sprayer. Dilution rates for the products I mentioned are actually on them. This is quite a smooth thing for applying your pre-spray as well. This is my favourite pre-spray applicator. It's called a Hydroforce Revolution. And basically it's an inline sprayer. So you put your own mixture of neat pre-spray here, and then you connect your solution line to it, and it will work perfectly well with the 250 psi Sensei in the background here. And basically, if you just come in, Alana, you can see you've got a dial there with different dilution rates on it. I don't know if you can see that. I'll try and stay a bit still. So there's a 1 to 4. There's a bit of a jump, and then it goes 1 to 5, and then it goes up. You've got where we would normally be, sort of 1 to 8 to 1 to 16, somewhere between there. So if I'm doing let's say I'm doing a dirty carpet in a restaurant, I need to work fairly concentrated. I might go as strong as a 1 to 8. And then let's say my next job is a very house-proud person, which just needs a light refresh. I can turn it down to almost, it goes to 1 to 64, which is very, very weak. But you could go maybe 1 to 20 in that particular job, and it allows you to apply your pre-spray hot, and a plastic pump-up sprayer doesn't, and heat cleans. So it's a great way to make sure you're applying your pre-spray at the right temperature and also at the right dilution to not over-wet. So you're getting a nice dry result. So that's great. That's called a Hydroforce Revolution. The next thing you want to do, once you've loosened up basically started putting on the pre-spray on, it's working away and it's starting to loosen that soilage that's stuck on that we mentioned earlier, is then agitate it. And it can be done by one of two ways. One way, which pretty much no one does, is to use a carpet rake. This is an 18-inch carpet pile rake. To be honest, we would normally use this to lay the pile at the end of the job, but if you have a separate one, you can use it to agitate in your pre-spray on a carpet with a bit of pile. So yeah, good way to build up the abs if you don't want to use an electronic agitator. And an electronic agitator, some people call these CRB machines, Contrarotating brush machines. A good one is the SIBO Duo. Made in Germany, so well built. They go on for a hell of a long time, and we sell lots of these. They're quite cheap as well, inexpensive. I've got two brushes, contrarotating brushes. This one's seen a bit of action. They spin in on themselves, so basically they allow you to rejuvenate the pile. They bring the pile up as best it can be brought up. And also massage in the pre-spray, so make it very, very effective as it can be, and mean that you're not scrubbing away with your wand, which is rather nice. I'll quickly show you on the carpet here what it does with something with a bit of pile. We have an enforcer here, look, waiting to be collected, which is our bigger carpet cleaning machine. Just quickly plug this in. And it's got obviously a simple on-off switch here. There's a lot of resistance when I push forward, that's your on-off switch. When I push forward, it's pretty much stuck to the carpet, but as soon as I switch that on, literally floats over the carpet and rejuvenates the pile, brings it up, massages in that pre-spray. And again, at this point in time, the customer is loving you, because you're rejuvenating the pile on their carpet, you're becoming their best friend, and also you're saving yourself time and making your pre-spray work really, really effectively. So it's a great way to start the job off, really, because if you just pre-spray without any agitation, you're trying to get that pile up by scrubbing away with your wand, which is taking you extra time, extra effort, and the customer loves to see this sort of thing. So we've dry vacuumed, we've pre-sprayed, we've agitated to massage in the pre-spray, make it as effective as possible and rejuvenate the pile. And the next thing we need to do is use our Sensei 250 psi carpet cleaning machine with a 2-jet carpet cleaning wand, which is here. So this is our premium 2-jet carpet cleaning wand, to basically rinse and extract away the soilage. So it has a vacuum slot here, which is 12 inches wide, which is continually sucking. It's got 2 jets, which spray down a nice constant wall of water when I squeeze the trigger on my wand, which is here. This valve's 1,250 psi rated, so it's a very high quality Kingston valve. 3,000 psi enforced reinforced hose with swages. So these are much better in my opinion than the stainless steel lines that run down, because they can sometimes block, the welds can come away and they chatter against the actual stainless steel of the wand. So all Ashbys ones will have the hose fitted to them, which is superior in my opinion, for what it's worth. Best working angle for the wand is when this is level, when this part here is level with the floor. So you don't want to be down here and you don't want to be up here. You want to be level. One technique is very, very important, and you want to work back in 1 meter length. So if we think of 2 of these carpet tiles as around 1 meter, I squeeze the trigger, give it a little bit of agitation. I'm really just resting my hand on there, keeping this level, moving my feet back. When I get to like the end of the second tile, I release the trigger so I stop spraying, and I go back a couple of centimeters just to pick up what I put down, and then I do a couple of dry passes over the area that I've cleaned, just to ensure that I pick everything up that I've put down. And then I move to the next bit. Being a lefty, I move to the right. That's the way I prefer to work. Again, squeeze, release that trigger, pick that last bit up, and a couple of drying passes just to pick up everything we've put down. So now we've dry vacuumed, we've pre-sprayed, we've agitated using the SIBO Duo, we've rinsed and extracted away using our premium 2-jet wand. The last thing that we need to do, or the last couple of things we need to do, let's put this back here actually, is we need to use Supreme Finish and Extra Fresh to fix the colour and brighten. So Supreme Finish is an acidic finishing product which is applied neat in a light, neat mist. Just trigger sprayed down in a little puffer bottle, a good quality puffer bottle like this one over here, which is a Mercury 1 litre sprayer. They're really, really good quality, a little bit more expensive than normal, but you kind of get exactly what you pay for. So it sprays on the in and the out. Don't spray over there's a light, sorry. So it's, yeah, sprays on the in and the out. You've got a conical spray that can be adjusted there. And they're like 360, so they don't mind if you spin them around a bit. And you've even got something to show you how full the bottle is there. Well, they're slightly opaque anyway, but you can see there's a little level there. So they're a great way to apply this product. But Supreme Finish, which has a pH value of 3.5, so it's reasonably acidic. See, I knew where it was this time. Is applied in a light mist, and it basically restores the natural pH level to the carpet or upholstery that you've cleaned. So you always want to do it over everything that you've cleaned to ensure that you fix the colour, brighten, and neutralise the pH. So that's your insurance policy to make sure you don't get things like, or you minimise the risk of browning, colour run and all that kind of stuff, which is rare that these things can happen, but very, very rare as long as you've applied a light mist of that afterwards. And then Extra Fresh is a bactericide with a built-in deodorizer, has a lovely fresh linen fragrance, and is just applied neat in a mist over everything that you've done. That's the best way to apply it. I personally wouldn't put it in the machine unless I really needed to. I would always just spray it on afterwards, leaving what's in the machine to be as close to fresh water as possible, as close to, I don't want to say pure water because people think in terms of pure water from a window cleaning system, but fresh, clean water. A bit like if you're having a shower, you soap up, that's your pre-treatment, you rinse off with your fresh water, and then you apply your finishing sprays. And yeah, you leave yourself residue free and ready basically for the day. But what you're doing to a customer's carpet, you are doing a similar thing. It's not rocket science, it's nothing new. You're just basically applying a detergent, rinsing and extracting it away so that you're left residue free, and putting down some basic finishing products to fix the colour, brighten, and then deodorize. And get rid of bacteria, which helps to kill those musty odours, that damp dog smell that you can sometimes get. And to that end, if we sort of spin round, you can see it's a lovely day today, so we've got the windows open. However, you always want to ventilate the area that you're working in so that it dries as quickly as possible. We do things like air movers. I'll just bring it over. Sorry, Alana, if I'm moving too fast. It's just how I roll. So this is an air mover. It has a kickstand. A lot of them have kickstands. This is called a multi-position air mover. The kickstand allows you to dry upholstery, so it can blow up at the upholstery. And when you put it down, it's good for blowing across carpets. Now this will reduce your drying times by 90%. Just takes the air that's in the room and moves it around. So that air and that moisture has got to really have somewhere to go, otherwise it's just going to condensate in the room. So always make sure you ventilate the room. Even on a cold day, you need to open a window if you're going to use an air mover. Don't just have the air mover in a room, shut the door, shut the windows. It needs somewhere to go. So you always need to open a window. If it's winter, get them to have the heating on as well. And that basically cuts your drying times right down. Very important when you're working on upholstery and important when you're working on carpet as well. These air movers are well built. Probably other air movers are fairly well built and they go on for years. We never repair them. You don't see them back. You just end up selling them and they just go on and on and on. So you can expect many years of life from an air mover. As long as you don't throw it around. You want to, when you put them down fairly gently, because obviously you've got a big fan in there. If you start chucking them around, the fan can become offset and they can wobble a bit. But even that's fairly rare, and you have to be fairly heavy-handed to get that sort of thing happening. So these are great things to have. Cut your drying times by 90%, and they're only a few £100 really for something that you use on every job every day. So it's good. Just pop that back over there. Sorry for moving out of shot. So back to the machine. The machine is very good because it only has one power lead. Let's move this out of your way, Alana, because I know you're going to trip over it otherwise. Yeah, the machine only has one power lead, which is really, really nice because it just makes things very, very simple. It's got a 250 PSI pump, and as I said, a heavy-duty 3-stage vacuum motor, which is a 5.7 inch. So a very, very reasonable vacuum, which is capable of running 1 or 2 25 foots of hose without any real performance issues. Plug it into your wall socket, which I've already done, and switch on your green switch, and it will start 2 cooling fans, one underneath and one at the back. Look, that's your green switch, that's your main switch. That's one of the cooling fans I was referring to. And they keep your electronics, as I say, nice and cool and dry, which is how they want to be. Moving round to the front of the machine here, your water goes in here. I'll just pour a little bit of water in. Now, when you, the detergents I'd recommend for using with this machine, although you can use any reputable detergent, obviously. This one's for carpets. It's called Supreme Powder Extra. Supreme Powder Extra has a pH of 11.5, and that's used in the machine. Don't apply it in the machine, put it in your bucket, and it will basically dissolve it as you pour the water in. So you always want to make sure if you're using powders instead of liquids, you want to make sure they're very well dissolved. And this one's called Fabric Safe Extra, and that has a more neutral pH, probably of around 9. Let me have a look. 8.5. So yeah, closer to the pH neutral, which is 7. And that's perfect for any rugs, really delicate carpets, but I'd say that the other one's fine on near enough all carpets. And especially, you know, you need to apply your finishing spray, which you're going to neutralise afterwards anyway. But this is fine for upholstery that's wet cleanable and rugs which are wet cleanable. Okay, so the machine. Water goes in the front here. I've put some in already. Just pour it in, like so. Don't need to pour much more in. Already got some in. And we colour code our buckets here at Ashbys, so have a little look. This is a good thing to do because you never want to fill with a bucket that you've used for emptying. Even if you've rinsed it out a few times, you always end up with fine sediment in it, which if you pour it in, starts to mess around with your pump and block filters and basically just degrade things. So always ensure that you colour code your buckets. We use a white one for our clean water. And when we're emptying, we use a red one. And yeah, always, as I say, fill with a clean bucket. It does you a favour because it basically means that you're not blocking filters, damaging pumps, causing yourself aggravation that you needn't have. So yeah, there we go. Now we have a low-level safety cut-off switch, which you probably can't see very easily in this machine, so we won't bother looking, I don't think. No, there it is. It's tucked away just behind that red hose. Can you see that? When my finger's pointing just to the right of that red hose, you may be able to see it. but it doesn't matter anyway. You need to just put a couple of buckets in to make sure you've got enough water for this machine to come on, because the water flows down and around and things like that. So it's a couple of buckets to make it come on, which isn't an issue because you're going to fill it up with water anyway. But it just means that as the water level drops, it automatically switches off your heater, so you don't need to worry about exposing the element. That's your heater switch, that red one. That means you've got power to it. That's a heating in progress light. That means it's warming up to its top temperature. It's got a preset thermostat which is set at 70 degrees C. If it's getting too hot, you switch it off. If it's got too hot, you can always put some cold in. You've got a vacuum motor switch there, and you have a pump switch there. This is a flow rate control, which basically adjusts the amount of water coming out of your tool. When you turn it all the way clockwise, you get full flow, which is good for when you're using your premium 2-jet carpet cleaning wand. And when you want to use to clean upholstery using an upholstery tool, you can turn it down by going anti-clockwise, and that reduces the amount of water that's coming out. Okay, let's attach some hoses up. This is a 25-foot, 1.5-inch hose, cuffed with 1.5-inch cuffs at either end. That's a 1.5-inch cuff, nice and flexible, the hose, so that's great. You've got a 1.5-inch spigot on here, vacuum intake spigot. What I'm going to do, I'm going to lay this hose out. Lay it over here. And I'm going to warm the cuff that I push onto the machine, because I don't really want it to split. These are very supple cuffs anyway, but yeah, I always make sure they're screwed on as well. So they unscrew by going clockwise. Okay, so you just make sure that they're screwed on. Don't over tighten, just enough. Just, you know, nip it up a little bit just to make sure that it hasn't come off started to come off. And I'll put it in the hot water for 10 seconds or so. Now, we've got a lovely warm day today, so these cuffs are quite soft anyway, but if you're bringing them out of the van and it was quite cold outside, these could split. Do not let this equipment freeze, by the way. If you let it freeze, you could have problems, stroke will have problems. You can split connectors up there where my thumb is. And you also have problems splitting valves on your tools, especially your wand. And you may also have problems with the machine where brass fittings have cracked. So you never want to let your machine freeze. You want to make sure that it doesn't freeze by taking it indoors or warming your van. Sorry, I connected the vacuum hose there, and I'm also connecting the, put my foot here, connecting the male connector of the solution line into the female connector of the machine. I'm going to turn it all the way clockwise, so I've got full flow, and I'm going to connect up my wand, which is connected in much a similar fashion. Connects just on here, like so, just pushes on. You can always, as I say, just check that it's screwed on, so I'll do that. There we go. And that just pushes on. That's the female connector. You just pull back the outer sleeve like that to expose those ball bearings, and they can be greased every now and again. Keep them sort of working nicely. And just push it onto the male, like so. When you put your wand down, always put a wand down this way round on the floor. Don't drop your wand like this, because if you do that, you'll make a hole here quite rapidly in your hose, as you would do with any hose. So you want to respect that by putting it down in the way I just showed you. But these are 3000 PSI wire reinforced swage fittings, so it's a very high quality hose, but basically it can just be put down like that, and that will stop that from happening. Okay, moving back to the machine, I'm going to put a silencer on the machine. This is a way of quietening down the machine. Okay, it fits on the rear handle here, and then it pushes onto the exhaust spigot here. And you'll see me do that in a minute, but the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this cuff and I'm going to warm it in my tank so that it's nice and soft for me to push on. Then I'm going to turn the machine on, do a bit of carpet cleaning and show you that. So as I say, hangs on the rear handle. I'll just switch the machine on so you can hear the noise level without it and see how it, compares. I'll switch the vacuum on. And it really drops the level of the machine. I'm going to turn on the water pump, which is here. It's a great thing to have a silencer, because if you're working in someone's home, they appreciate the fact that you've reduced the noise level. If you are working in an office, it means that they can carry on working while that is running in the background. If you're working in a nursing home, a hotel, hospital, same sort of thing. Everyone wants a reduced noise level. So it's a great thing to have when you're working inside someone's house. Okay, so this is your wand as we saw earlier. I'll show you a little bit of that wand technique that we were talking about earlier. Is that a good angle for you, Alana? Can you see behind, or do you need me to, shall I come around this way? No, come around. Okay. Right, so you want to be working about 2 carpet tiles in length. When you're working on carpet tiles, obviously you don't want to be butting up against the seams of things, so I'm actually going to come across them diagonally. I'll squeeze the trigger, water comes out. I do about 1 metre or so. I'm doing it a little bit slower so Alana can see. I get to that point, but then I always release the trigger and then do a couple of dry passes just to pick up everything that I put down. Let me show you that a few more times. So I'll move across, squeeze the trigger and the water comes out. Release the trigger here, so keep going back 1 inch or so to basically pick up that water that we've put down before I push forward. Let's see that one more time. Notice I'm keeping the wand level. Release the trigger, and I'm always moving my body as well so that I'm not putting my back out. I'm not reaching down like this, and my wand is not down here and up here, and I'm not doing all this and all this stuff. I'm working in a methodical manner, straight backed. My back is straight, more or less. Release the trigger, do a couple of drying passes. There we go. Always want to make sure you pick up it as much as you can, because that's where you recover your soilage, recover your moisture, minimise the chance of damaging anything, and cut your drying times as well. I put the wand down, I put it down this way to avoid damage to my hose. Go back to the machine, switch it off. Okay, for upholstery cleaning, let's select a hand tool. This is quite a nice hand tool, plucked at random. It is 9 centimetres in width, solid stainless steel, which is really, really good. Stainless steel tip jet, so although it's plastic, it's actually quite a very high quality plastic with a stainless steel insert inside, so the jet itself is actually stainless steel. But it's got what we call an enclosed spray. It means it has a spray guard all the way around the jet. The brass valve is high temperature, high pressure, highest quality you can get. And again, the hose is 3000 PSI with swage connectors, so yeah, very, very good. I'm going to connect up the hose to it. Let's just do that now. So I'll disconnect it from my wand and actually put the wand back so it's out of the way. Next to my inline heat exchanger called a V2 Steammate here, actually. Going to shoot a video on that in a minute. Very, very good tool. Goes up to 110 degrees C. Gives you instant heat. They are not cheap, but incredibly effective and very, very good. Very nice tool. When you're heating your water up to 110 degrees C, you're cutting through heavy soilage so quickly, it's unreal. Okay, female connector, male connector, pull back the outer sleeve and that just pushes in like that. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn my water pump on, which is here. I'm going to reduce my spray down a little so that we're not soaking the upholstery. So if I squeeze, if I do it so you can see, squeeze that trigger, you'll see you've got water coming out. Just open it up a bit to reduce it down to a sensible level, which is about there. Maybe a little bit less. There we go. So we're not over wetting. Now this tool will be used for doing upholstery. This is an all-rounder really, so it's good on carpets and stairs, for spotting on carpets, for doing carpeted stairs, but also for doing upholstery. So yeah, a good all-round tool with an enclosed spray. Just grab this chair. Let's turn on the, should I put it under the light? Is that better? There we go. Let's turn this vacuum on. Same sort of theory. Squeeze the trigger and the water comes out. Release the trigger when you need to. A couple of dry passes over the area that you've just been over. Important thing when you're upholstery cleaning, I mean this is not a video on upholstery cleaning, but I might as well show you. When you're on the edge of things, bar it off to create vacuum. Bar it off with your hand. So you saw there, I barred it off, and then when I'm drying it off I'll do it as well. Don't go like that, because one, you'll be spraying all the way out there, like that, and two, you won't be getting any vacuum. So you need to bar it off to create that vacuum. Okay, so that's how you do edges and things like that. That's a very good tool. That's how you use it on upholstery. Reduce it down. As you can see, it's reasonably dry. You've got a very, very good vacuum on this machine. So yeah, that's upholstery cleaning. Let me just turn this off. I'll turn off the vacuum, turn off the pump, and disconnect my hand tool. So that just pulls off. To disconnect, simply pull that back and it pops off. Now all your dirty water in this machine ends up in your dirty water tank, which basically is here. And inside of there, you have disconnecting my hoses in the same manner, because we're nearing the end of the video. That just coils up like so, and then goes into a hose bag. Get yourself a nice, we sell large hose bags, they're called. We have one over here actually, Alana, if you want to follow me, we may as well show. Oh, here's one. This customer's about to collect. So that's a large hose bag, and he will actually fit those hoses in this bag. So there he has a set of 2-inch 25 foot and 1.5 inch 25 foot, and that will fit in that bag, believe it or not, with the joining tube and a hand tool. Great thing to keep all your hoses nice and tidy. So yeah, moving back to the machine, this is where your dirty water ends up. And if we have a look in here, you see you've got a high level safety shut-off, which is that cage there. Can you just see, if you come at a slight angle, we might see it. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'll grab one. Shall I grab one from somewhere else to show people? I might even be able to grab this one. There we go. So, don't ever do what I did. This is just to show you guys, you shouldn't really need to remove it, but basically you have a ping pong ball in there, something similar, and slightly angled. As the water level rises, the ping pong ball floats up, and then the change in air pressure is enough to make that ping pong ball get sucked up, because your vacuums are pulling here, you see, through it. And it mechanically seals and blocks off your vacuums. So your vacuums go high pitched, and at that point you switch off your pump, switch off your vacuum motor, and empty your water, which is emptied out of this dump valve, which is here. That's your dirty water exit point, and we'll do that in a minute. Let's just put this back on. I don't want to forget, he says. This is why you shouldn't really take it off. They're quite fiddly to put back on. Really, I need some of them. There we go, that just pops on. But yeah, you shouldn't need to remove those, because what we're going to do, we are going to use a pump out hose, which is this sort of 5 foot length of hose here. I didn't think that was going to go on, Alana. I thought we were going to have to start the whole video again. But yeah, don't remove it, ladies and gentlemen, just leave it on, because we're using a pump out hose to pump the water out from the clean water tank into the dirty water tank. And this will empty what is basically in the clean tank into your dirty. So we plug it in here, like so. What you want to do, actually, sorry, let's put the open end into the recovery tank first, because then if we have any back pressure, it basically gets ejected into your dirty water tank, and we push this on, like so. And we're going to turn the water pump on here to start pumping it, actually here, sorry. And we're going to shut the flow rate control all the way clockwise. We don't ever over tighten that, don't over tighten. Enough is enough. It's a bit like having a tap at home. Once it's off, you don't want to keep screwing it in. Yeah, and it gives us a good flow of water out. Now note that we do not have our vacuum motors running because we don't want them running, or vacuum motor in this case. We're just going to rinse that off. That's that cage that I pulled off earlier, because we basically want to rinse. In real life, we're going to have pet hair, carpet fluff, people hair, all maybe sort of stuck around it and all around the sides of the machine. So we're going to use this to sort of clean and sanitize, if you like, our tank a little bit by pumping out the water. Okay, and we're going to empty it into our red bucket. First, I'm just going to remove this silencer so that simply pulls off. Put this back over here. And I'm going to get my red bucket, which is the bucket I've never used to fill. And basically empty it out. Now don't judge the colour of the water because we haven't even put any pre-spray down or chemical in the machine. But yeah, that's your dirty water coming out. And we're going to let this pump right out until this hose is emitting mainly air and not really any water. So that's just going to take a moment or so. Okay, so now we are mainly pumping out air from our pump out hose. In fact, entirely air. So the pump's changed tone. We don't want to leave this pump dry running, or really any pump, so we'll just switch it off, like so. Disconnect it from our female connector, wind it up, pop it back, and empty the residual dirty water into our red bucket. So let's do that now. Just put that back. There we go. And the last thing that we want to do is we want to turn our vacuum motors on and our vacuum motor, let it run for 3 minutes. So I'm going to do that now. It's going to get a bit noisy and we'll come back after 3 minutes and switch it off again. The vacuum motor's here, so we'll switch it on. I've got the recovery tank lid, the dirty water tank lid, look, is off. So we're drawing fresh, cold, dry air in. It's going through our vacuum motor, has been blown out the back and basically prolonging the life of that vacuum motor. And we do that every single time that we've finished using the machine before we put it back in our vehicle. Okay, so I've let that run for 3 minutes. That's dried my vacuum motor out. And the machine now is basically empty of our clean water. We've cleaned out our dirty water tank using our pump out hose. We've run the vacuum motor. So that's all nice and dry. And the machine is essentially ready to be put back on the vehicle. Let's put the lid back. That just goes like that, sorry. I'll show you that again. Actually, I did that a bit fast. Little lip there. We can see that. Inserts there. Pushes on. Spins round. And locks down into that recess there. That is now securely locked. A little bit different. That's a new lid actually on this batch of Sensei, so a little bit of an improvement there over the old screw type. Yeah, let's now switch off our green switch at the back, which is here. That's our main switch. So that stops the cooling fan. Now I'd like you to always leave that green switch on whilst the machine is plugged in, because it is running the cooling fans, which is keeping all your electronics nice and dry, and we want that. So let's switch it off here. So always switch off before you unplug. Carefully unplug that, and I'm gonna rip it out of the wall, because if we damage the integrity of our plug and we haven't got another plug to fit on, we can't finish the job or do the next job or whatever. So yeah, always maintain the integrity of that. Now when you're winding a lead up, that's already really neatly wound, so it breaks my heart, but basically we should always start from the machine end with it unplugged from the wall. So let's just recap. It should always start in life when you've got a lead from the fixed end, which is normally on the machine, to from the fixed end back, and it should always be unplugged. And what you do, you would loop it like this to make sure that your lead doesn't get twisted. Your 3 wires inside this lead don't end up getting twisted. If I started, just put that down for a minute, if I started from the plug end and I wrapped it around my arm like this, every time I do that, because it's at a fixed point on my machine, it's going to get a twist in it. So Alana, when you're at home with your lawnmower, which I'm going to order for you today because you've asked me to, that's the way you want to do it. Always start from the fixed end, not the plug end, okay? We'll be checking in. Yeah, and then basically that's how you wrap your lead up. You have with this machine somewhere, here it is, a Velcro, and basically your lead fixes to your handle with the Velcro, like so. Velcro side, fluffy side, whatever you want to call it, out, just hooks through there, like so, and comes back on itself, like that. Okay, the handle as well on these machines, I really like these machines because they're so light and portable. So they're perfect really for anyone who is looking for a lightweight machine for whatever reason, but still have a professional power and appearance and feel. So yeah, folds forward like that. Can put one hand here, can put another hand here. It's easy to lift in and out of a car or a vehicle. I can even carry it up and down the stairs if I needed to, as long as it's empty of water. But they can also be, that locked in position, can also be bumped up the stairs a bit like a pram would. So this is a really lightweight, or for a professional machine, it's a very, very lightweight machine. I think, check the spec, this is off the top of my head, but it's around 30 kilos, 29 kilos, something like that. So it's lightweight in comparison to many other machines. So easy enough for me to, and I'm not that strong, pick up and carry upstairs if I needed to, empty of water, which is really good, and get on and off a vehicle. So pretty much that's how you use your machine if you're unboxing it for the first time and you haven't used it before. Important things to remember. Always fill with a clean bucket, one that you've never used to empty. Don't let the machine freeze. Always remove it from the vehicle if there's going to be frost, or heat the vehicle, or whatever's needed to do to make sure that you don't let it freeze. Always use your pump out hose to empty, okay? There are other ways of emptying, don't do them. I'm not even going to mention them. Just use your pump out hose to empty. That gives you the chance to rinse around your dirty water tank, and also that high level safety shut off cage that I showed you earlier. Don't have your vacuum motors running. Double underline it and put it in bold. Don't run your vacuum at the time that you're using your pump out hose, because you'll suck water directly into your vac motor, which will blow it up or damage it. So always do that without your vacuum motor running. And then once you've emptied your recovery tank, always run the vacuum motor with this recovery tank lid off, this one here, off, so you're letting in fresh, cold, dry air for 3 minutes or so to extend, double even the life of your vacuum motor. So yeah, run it for 3 minutes, and then that's how you pack it away. There is a little, another little thing I'd like to say actually. When you wheel this machine around, always wheel it on its rear wheels. Okay, so when you're moving it to and from your vehicle, move it like this, you know, or push it like this, but try to avoid wheeling it on all of its casters like that. It goes for any machine really, but you don't want to damage the front casters. Really, it's designed to stand on its front casters, but be wheeled to and from a vehicle, especially over bumpy pavements and things like that, on its rear wheels. It's not a problem if you're pushing it around on carpet like this, but yeah, when you're moving it to and from a vehicle, nothing breaks my heart when I see people bringing them back for a service and they're pushing them along and it's banging around on the pavement. You really want to avoid that, so just wheel it like that. And you'll get good long life from your Sensei, and yeah, clean plenty of carpets. Now, if you have any questions or you'd like to talk to us, just pick up the phone. Our telephone number is on our website, but if you haven't, you're not looking at our website, it's 01795 436 999. That's 01795 436 999. Or you can drop us an email or a message if it's on Facebook or YouTube. Yeah, just get in contact with any questions you've got. We're real people. We're in the office Monday to Friday, so we can yeah, answer any questions and make sure you're looked after. Thank you for taking the time for watching this video.